Hey, Star Wars fans, Star Wars Doctrine here. I am Cody Dastrup. With me is Logan Schultz.
How you doing?
And we're here to do a little podcast, talk some Star Wars with you guys. As always, today we are talking about hashtag Make Solo 2 Happen. Put out a little post a little bit ago asking you guys if you feel that Solo 2 should happen, why or why not. And today we're going to talk about some of our thoughts and feelings on it and get some of your guys' input too from the comments. And yeah, I think that's about what we're doing today.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree. We're talking about to Make Solo 2 happen. They kind of have a little day dedicated to it, which we're talking slightly confusing because it's a very busy day in Star Wars history.
Yep.
May 25th is the anniversary of when A New Hope released, Return of the Jedi released, and finally Solo released.
Yep.
So it's a busy day, and because of that, I think this is mainly due to our friends over at Star Wars News Net.
Yeah.
They are big proponents of the Make Solo 2 Happen campaign.
I think you can even buy shirts.
I believe, you can buy, you should go buy one of their shirts. They're a very awesome and very supportive Star Wars community. They're great people, and they've been a big proponent behind Make Solo 2 Happen, thinking that Solo was a good story that had lots of good elements to it and should be continued in some fashion. But unfortunately, due to its massive failing at the box office, technically I think breaking even, but most considered to lose money depending on the estimates.
Yeah.
Failing horribly after its predecessor, The Last Jedi, made $1 billion at the box office. It definitely is not the right direction that a company wants to see going, and led to the cancellation of several potential movies for the Star Wars universe, standalone films.
It really did. It changed a lot of the outlook that Bob Iger said Disney had and Lucasfilm had on what they were going to do next. And that's kind of caused the Disney Plus shift a little bit. And I guess we'll kind of dive into that and where we think that it should go. So whether you like Solo or not, I think there's a lot of good discussion points within this whole thing, and the hashtag Make Solo 2 Happens actually gained a lot of traction recently. There's been, I think, IGN, some other news sites have put out stuff talking about it and how the hashtag was actually trending.
It definitely performed extremely well this year and compared to recent years, and I think a large component of that could be the fact that we don't have a Star Wars movie. Yeah, there's nothing
that's
next.
Fair. People are like, just do something.
We have 2022 as our next release date, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
And we just heard Taika Waititi's finally hired officially for that, but I mean, people are just like, I want a Star Wars movie at this rate. Where the previous years we've been waiting for The Rise of Skywalker to release.
Right. So now we don't know what we're looking forward to.
I think so.
Outside of the TV series as well.
So I guess going with that, the first question I have for you, Cody, is, do you want Solo 2?
Yeah, so I think, I don't know what Solo's an interesting one because it's pretty divided. People either really liked it or hated it, and I don't really know what the majority is. I feel like on most Star Wars movies, I can tell you if people mostly liked it or mostly didn't, but it seems fairly split down the middle. I don't know. It'd be an interesting poll to do.
I think we got about a 77% of people that liked it on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
But you never know how
accurate that crap is. Yeah, so I was part of that 77%, I think. I really liked it. In fact, me and you saw it twice in the same night, which isn't untypical for us with a Star Wars film. It's pretty normal. But I enjoyed it a lot the second time. I remember just like soaking in a lot more of it, and thought it was a fun film. Definitely there's things I would have done differently, of course, but at the end of the day, I thought some of the performances were awesome, namely Lando. Donald Glover did an incredible job at Lando. Landino. Yeah, childish Landino. And I really thought for what Alden had to do, I thought he did a good job. It's not an easy task to come in and play a character, younger version of Harrison Ford, and he made it his own, and it was different, but it was enjoyable, and I liked Woody Harrelson in it. It was, to me,
Tobias Beckett was a great character.
Yeah, he was. He was an awesome character, and to me, I guess the things that I liked and outweighed what was bad, and it was just an enjoyable one. It was just fun.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be much more than that either, is what's great, because it wasn't necessarily part of the Skywalker saga, even though it takes place during it. It just had its freedom to kind of be different and be a fun little flick. and I thought it achieved that. And so on that note, I would say yes. I would like to see Solo 2. I'm not sure, and as we've talked about, I'm not sure I want to see it in the format of necessarily Solo 2.
Right.
But I do want to see something continued on with the story.
I think that's... so I agree. I want Solo 2 to happen. Mm-hmm. And that brings us to the next portion, I think, first. The next portion of this is where should Solo 2 happen? And that's just the name we're going to use, even though I would like it not to be called Solo 2, or even have the name Solo or Han in it at all. Yeah. But where should it take place? Do you think it should be a film, as in like making a trilogy, or should it be... Because I think the important parts we agree on is that it does need to come from this storyline. The storyline is important. We want to continue on with what's been set up in Solo 1.
Right.
So do we want it on Disney Plus, which would be where Disney and Star Wars are moving a lot of the things. That's where everything's going. Kenobi, originally rumored to be a movie, is now a TV show. So, it's definitely... And The Mandalorian was fantastic. There's lots of digging Disney Plus TV shows. But should it be a Disney Plus TV show, or should it be maybe like a trilogy of sorts?
Yeah. I really think a Solo trilogy would have been fun. The likelihood of that happening is fairly low, I think. I want to read this comment real quick from someone on Instagram just because it was an awesome idea, I thought. This is from Cal_Barnes_. It says, yes, Solo 2, talking about should Solo 2 happen. He says, yes, have a Disney Plus show called Scum and Villainy, feature Han and Chewie meeting Jabba, include Boba Fett, other bounty hunters, including Dr. Aphra, show the crime syndicates, focus heavily on Crimson Dawn. Some Lando episodes too. The Clone Wars has a focus, but often shows vast aspects of the war itself. Ultimately, characters and storylines converge. So have that. People complain and moan about Solo, which I don't understand, but a Scum and Villainy show could have something for everyone almost. And I think that's a really cool idea, and something that we had talked about a little bit too, is if you did it in the form of a TV show, you could carry on the storyline. And I like the idea of focusing on other storylines than just Han and Chewie.
Right.
So that's why I think when you said you wouldn't want it to be called Solo 2, maybe you were saying like kind of that idea too, that the cool storyline that you could spin off of this would likely be a lot of the underground crime stuff. Maul, Qi'ra, what she's going to do next.
Right.
Boba Fett could fit into there. Jabba obviously could fit into there, and you could do, like they said, a Solo arc or something, or a couple episodes of Solo. But if you did a TV show with episodes, it gives the freedom, to do different things. And I'm mostly interested in what Maul does next. That's where I want to see it go. And
yes.
Qi'ra as well.
Yes, no, I totally agree. And that's been a lot of the sentiment that I've seen. There are some people clamoring for, I want to see how Solo winds up exactly at Jabba the Hutt, which is what Solo leads us off with.
Which would be interesting.
I think it'd be interesting to see a little bit of that relationship. But I do think that, as I guess we got someone on Facebook saying, PJ saying that Crimson Dawn, yes, I don't know how Han would be involved enough to call Solo 2, but I do want to see more about Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a large sentiment is, hey, this storyline is super cool. Han Solo might have fulfilled his role, though, so maybe we focus on these other people. And I think for me, I like where Disney Plus is going, but I would hate for Disney to be too scared to ever release another film of Star Wars. That's a good point. A big budget trilogy. Like, I like what you said. This was a fun film. It was to use like a blockbuster term, it was a great summer film. Did come out in summer this time though, actually. It was a summer film. It was fun. The whole family could enjoy it. If you didn't like Star Wars, it was like still a fun film about adventure and like some upbeat tones, which was nice. And then if you did like Star Wars, there was so many great details in Solo. So I think I don't want Star Wars to abandon all hope of movies. I don't think we need to go quite into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and have like 30 films about every single character ever to grace the screen.
Right. That's
a bit extreme, but I do think we should move into, I guess similar to what our buddies on Instagram was saying, that, or even on Facebook, that I want to see more about the story. And even if we move past Solo, a trilogy about these anthology of characters who are doing maybe the Outlaw trilogy is what we could call it, or something. I don't know.
So yeah, and so another part of that too is like obviously it was probably very purposeful that Maul and Han didn't really meet or anything like that.
Right.
In Solo and Maul and Han's not really familiar with the Force and things like that. So I don't know that I would like I don't think I'd ever want a confrontation between Han and Maul anyways.
That's a good point.
So I like the idea of exploring I don't know. I like the idea of exploring them separately. Like it doesn't have to be the same episodes if you were going to do episodes. I think that Qi'ra and Han, that the ending we saw was them going their separate ways. I don't necessarily need them to come across each other's paths again.
Yeah.
Personally.
I mean, Leia's cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And she's not too far away for Han.
Still about 10 years.
Is it 10?
I think.
So he's got to get some time to be ready for Leia. But yeah, so I don't need that to intertwine. It's kind of cool that you could realistically carry on either way.
Agreed. And I think so something over on Facebook Christian James was saying was that it was a huge miss on Disney's part for Darth Maul to not have been the main villain, and I think that's what we want to see. I think that's what everyone really cares about.
Right.
Like, I think there was a decent acting by everyone else, but I don't care. Darth Maul is cool, right?
Oh, of course.
It was like when Darth Maul came back in the Clone Wars, we were like, this doesn't make sense, but I'm okay with it.
But it's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Ray Park reprising his role as Darth Maul even for 10 seconds on screen was just unreal.
Right, and then it worked really well with Darth Maul, Ray Park, and Sam Witwer
doing the
coming
voice
together to do Darth Maul.
Just amazing.
Worked really well in that little scene, and it worked really well again in
Clone Wars finale.
So, like, those two combined makes me believe that it can work.
Absolutely.
Now I want to bring up my own point. So, what I want to see more from Lando because of Childish Gambino / Donald Glover / Lando Calrissian. I don't know. All of those people, their role was amazing.
Oh,
it was the best acting in the film, maybe. Woody Harrelson was also fantastic, but Lando's a more fun character. I don't know. Everything about those two were awesome. Woody Harrelson's dead. But Lando,
Becca didn't come back,
and Daniel Glover are amazing. Just amazing.
It was great.
So I want to see more of that. And I thought about this just recently with the idea of Darth Maul being the main villain. We don't want Solo to meet Darth Maul because I feel like that does undermine the Force.
Yeah.
So what if Lando is more involved and we make it Lando as the main story and it's Lando dealing with the Shadow Collective and the Crimson Dawn. I guess not really Shadow Collective anymore, but the Crimson Dawn and all this mess with him trying to run his underworld stuff and how like they're butting heads.
Yeah, because he's obviously
and Lando's forced
to
be a good guy because of this interaction.
Even though he's not really
and he's not a good
great guy yet.
Yeah. And because of that,
that's cool.
He meets Darth Maul and he learns a bit of what the dark side is of the Force, of an evil Force user. So when Darth Vader shows up and is like, hey,
that's why he's so scared.
He's like, sorry, Solo, he's over there.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Because we don't have any reason that Solo's, that Lando, meets up with the rebels, and he's obviously knows about Jedi and stuff, and he's just like, whatever, make me money.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to tie in that he's clearly more aware of the Force than Han Solo was at that point.
That would be cool. Well, and there's like the running thing about the Lando, the Calrissian Chronicles.
Right.
Yeah, like that he's recording them like almost like a vlog, a hollow vlog of his stories. So you could do even something with that, and he's kind of making them as he goes or something, and call it the Calrissian Chronicles. There you go. I like it. But that's a really cool idea. I would love to see something like that with Lando and him coming across that. He could even, and there's no reason he couldn't run into Qi'ra again, because I would like to see what Qi'ra does next and how she works with Maul and how that all comes together. And then she betrayed Solo, so I kind of want to see
her die.
Yeah. Well, that was a little extreme, but just a Sarlacc pit, just for 10,000 years.
Yeah, it seems really fair, honestly.
So no, there's a lot that they could do with that.
So who would you want to be the main character? Because I do think generally in Star Wars it is an upbeat movie, it is an upbeat trilogy, and George Lucas has talked about this. It's supposed to be it's a feel good. The good guys win. That's what it's supposed to be at the end of the day.
So you couldn't say the main character
Maul should not be the main character.
Right. He could be the main villain.
So who should be the main good guy, your main character that we're going to focus on?
Yeah. Real quick, it's interesting to where we find Maul in Rebels. He definitely doesn't seem to have control of the syndicates anymore. Something happened, right?
Right. There's
So I like your idea a lot that Lando could be leading that. Something's got to collapse for him, and as it always does. But yeah, I like Lando being the main character. I would love to see them bring in Boba as part of like the underground kind of crime stuff. I don't know who a better fit character, if it's not Han. I don't know who a better fit character is than Lando. I don't know.
Here's my trilogy pitch. Lando Calrissian, part 2. Part 3 is going to be Boba Fett. And I don't really like the idea of Boba Fett. I think part 3 will be focused on Boba Fett, but it'll be Boba Fett, Han, and Lando for all 3 of them, which I think can have cool repercussions when we meet up again in episode 5.
Yeah.
But mainly because the storyline is Lando's trying to kind of get some of his own. After he loses his ship, he's trying to make money, and he runs in with Darth Maul, and he's trying to make money, and now he has to be kind of a good guy to try and shut Maul's syndicate down so he can go back to being a scoundrel. So that's episode 2.
That'd be cool.
Part of that turns into requesting the help of Jabba the Hutt. And now this is how the Hutts take over, is they destroy Maul's crime syndicate with the help of Boba Fett, Lando, and Han.
All right.
So Han never has to run in with Darth Maul. He just helps take down the syndicate, and he proves very, very useful, hence why Jabba's so willing to give him the slide and not bring him in and kill him right away because of how helpful Han was in establishing the Hutt Empire.
Dude, that's awesome.
Because obviously the Hutts have been a thing all around, but by the time of episode 4, it seems the Hutts are the only crime syndicate.
Yeah,
So it goes from lots of crime... Hutts are around in episode 1, lots of crime syndicates through 2 and 3,
to the Hutts being the powerful kind of force in the galaxy with that. Yeah, and it would add a really cool depth to Boba Fett and Han, like you said, and Lando when they all see each other in episode 5, because they've all worked together before, not necessarily as friends, but at least as partners in helping that, and then on top of that, now they're enemies kind of in the original trilogy. So that would definitely add some cool character to it. Plus, you could see a side of Boba Fett where you're actually rooting for him, right? Which he's a fan favorite, so that would be awesome. He's not necessarily a good guy or bad guy. He's just out for the money, right? And, I mean, he's not a good guy for sure. He just cares about the money. But
similar with what we're seeing with like Mando's, where he's a neutral guy who makes good decisions. We can see Boba Fett be a more
neutral
negative guy,
but makes bad decisions.
Yeah, neutral guy makes bad decisions, and now he's going to be more neutral, doing rooting for him, but making honestly neutral decisions because one syndicate overthrowing another.
Yeah, exactly. It's still crime. No, that's a really, really cool idea. I think we should get Lucasfilm on the phone right now, Logan.
I am available for job interviews starting next Thursday.
Not till Thursday, though?
Not till Thursday, no.
You're busy until then.
Yes, I have to stream.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, anything else on that?
No, I think just the only thing to say is one of our friends over on Facebook, Barry, had mentioned I'd watch it, but I don't see Solo 2 happening because he's not sure if there's been enough interest. The film lost money, like we brought up, and there hasn't been as passionate of a campaign for this one, like #release a Snyder Cut is what he says. Yeah. And I think something important to take away from that is release a Snyder Cut is finally happening.
And how long? That's been a petition for a long time.
For about 3 years, I believe. 3 or 4 years. So, and it happened. So if you really think that Solo has a good place to go, then #make Solo 2 happen actually can have an impact. Yeah. So just a thought is, even if you don't think it's gonna happen, release the Snyder Cut, which I'm pretty sure most people didn't believe was a thing. Yeah, is actually going to happen. So
it's absolutely insane that the fans were able to kind of show power in a little bit of a way, and that the studio listened is a really big win for fans. So absolutely, get out there, and if you believe in it, you got to fight for your right to Solo.
Fight for your right to party.
Fight for your right
Solo,
to party with Solo 2. Make it happen. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, may the Force be with you.